Welcome back, guys. Today it's going to be a little bit different from the normal legacy stuff. With my tournament Eco-Eternal weekend coming up, and of course, Eternal weekend itself, I wanted to focus a little bit more on vintage and kind of want to take the decks to beat for a spin. And I'm going to start off with Mono White Initiative. So Mono White Initiative is a huge deck on Magic Online in particular. I feel like it's partially because of the deck being relatively simple, and the most important thing is very fast. I will say the most important thing about this deck is the opening hand decisions and your sequencing. This deck will offer terrible draws that, probably a draft deck could beat, and this deck will also sport some unbeatable nut draws. So it has a lot of appeal in that regard, especially hands with Cavern, Chancellor, like slam some uncounterable lock piece or aggro creatures, and you're kind of off to the races. Best card in the deck, and probably the card that makes the deck viable, is Archon of Emeria. This card is incredible in Vintage. Disrupts fetch lands. Players rely on Moxen, multi-spelling, stuff like that. We, of course, have the 8 initiative creatures. We all remember those from Legacy. Those are part of your closing power. Then we have Peacekeeper, which is a little bit of a tough one to play with. You can get in spots where that card will be super complicated. It also just does some simple things like shut down, onboard stuff, or, name Bazaar Baghdad against Dredge and the like. Then we have a cool one here in Void Mirror, which is essentially Vexing Bauble, but on a discount. Discount meaning we cannot run any more than a single copy. It is, ironically enough, excuse me, it's ironically enough more expensive, but this card basically stops like Moxen, forces, stuff like that, and even just can straight up shut down artifact decks. So that card is very awesome. As you probably can tell, being on the play with this deck is amazing, and being on the draw is less amazing. That's why we have to play cards like Chancellor to try and make up for that. Sideboard-wise, ton of removal for the Mirror and Fair Luris. Tons of Graveyard Hate against Bazaar. A little bit of Oath crossover here with Containment Priest, and then a couple of traps to mitigate being on the draw against combo and just losing, right? I'm pretty excited to take this for a spin. Let's see if we can showcase some of the strengths and the weaknesses of Mono White Initiative. All right, round 1, I'm playing Mono White Initiative, and this hand is very aggressive and will probably get raced by combo, but I think that's totally fine. Let's see, our opponent has not revealed the Luris. That's a bit of an issue. So how can we... I guess I should play... I think because both of my creatures are going to be clerics, I don't think I should play this smart, but let's imagine there's just a world where I should show my Cavern and then get my opponent to force the Mana Crypt. And then I only resolve one White Plume because I have to imprint the other to Chrome Mox. The other option is I go Cavern Cleric, then Ruby, then Chrome. Yeah, the thing is I'm kind of losing out on the second White Plume, so I don't think that's viable. Okay, so let's name Cleric. There's a little bit of crossover with the creature types in this deck. That's kind of cool. Let's play that card turn 1. Tutor up Plains. Play out Ruby. Pass. I will now be looking to just win as fast as possible here. I think this should be a turn 3 kill, where my only disruption is Wasteland. That's going to be good enough most of the time. These kind of polarized games are quite normal with a deck like Mono White Initiative, because if the opponent has a great hand, they can just crush me, right? I just have a 3/3 in play. But if they stumble just a tiny bit, this is just super fast aggro. So it's important to understand when you play against Initiative that they don't always have, like, Archon, Reveal Chancellor, like some super disruptive draw. Like, they also just have to keep, aggro. So now I'm essentially giving my opponent Well, let's see what this is. Is this balance? I'm playing the mirror match. That is funny. So my opponent is now shutting off all of that stuff. That's crazy. All right, so Mana Crypt, terrible on both sides of the table. Let's forge onto the White Plume. Draw. Therian Conqueror is very bad. Yeah, let's attack. My opponent wants to steal back the initiative. Sure. Yeah, I don't have any moves. So yeah, this game becomes a little bit weird. My opponent attacks here, get the initiative. And then they have 1 mana to work with. Let's see how this plays out. Won the flip. That's a good one. Yeah, I mean, let's attack. Take back the initiative. Dome my opponent for 5. Play Wasteland Pass. My opponent only has a plains in play. White Plume on taps. Mana Crypt. Opponent still at 5. Which enables some Ancient Tomb draw here, I guess. Where I can theoretically lose. So if the opponent has, let's see, I guess more White Plume. Nice. Okay, okay. So we funnily enough have a game here where if the opponent wins the Mana Crypt flip, I think I'm losing. Won the flip. That's decent. 5/5 gets untapped. I attack with my White Plume here. So let's see. Okay, the opponent has to chum block to not turn on mana, I guess. Okay, so now this comes down to what? My opponent needs to win the flip, and then I need to lose the flip, so it's like 25%. Yeah, this is really funny. I guess I'll Wasteland if my opponent wins the flip. This is awesome. All right, so the opponent draws a card here. And here comes the flip. Opponent lost the flip. Okay, okay. Well played by my opponent, playing to their outs there. They had to win 2 in a row, and I had to lose. A flip here? Yeah, I mean, I like that. So let's see. I have a ton of good cards here. I have 6 removal spells. And then I have some terrible cards here. So I think that's an easy swap. And now the question becomes whether I want Mindbreak Trap or not. So let's see. Therian Conqueror seems quite bad. I could actually be interested in making a little bit of a swap here. It is a 3/3 flyer, but I really think that the effect is actually symmetrical because it's the mirror match, right? Things also get a little bit awkward here because on the play, stuff like Bauble and Void Mirror are actually live cards. So I'll probably be doing that. Yeah, my opponent is asking for the Coternal Weekend Vintage, and just asked me how did the Legacy go. And yeah, could report 0 problems and a lot of heavy players. And in the end, painting from Kai Sawatarix going to Brandon Watson, who's going to be working with Kai to basically make the best painting for him, right? So this is not some pre-made painting that Kai had in his back pocket. That was actually, the winner actually gets to sit down and prepare with an actual artist. So that is already taken care of by me a while back. And yeah, I'm just happy to put on tournaments like that. Recently, I'm also sweetening the deal with a couple of Eternal Weekend tickets. but best placing players. It's kindly sponsored by Card Titan and Four Seasons and Booze MTG. So let's see how this plays out. Black Lotus. Okay, so I was about to say maybe, just maybe, there's a land pass situation, but never mind. Here's Archon. That is super annoying. And here's a Cavern on Dragon. So maybe my opponent is trying to crush me a little bit here. Let's see. That one... yeah, so I should play this card out, tapped, and then play, I don't know, maybe a Petal? That's probably decent. So, yeah, turn 1 Archon is very annoying. Opponent is either getting ready for Dragon or just has Ancient Tomb Dragon. Okay, Wasteland. So Wasteland is kind of like a time walk while we're sitting here. So that's solid. I think I should still... Yeah, nice Chancellor. I guess what I should do now is... So what I could do is play Witch Enchanter as a land. And then play Chrome Mox. I think I'd rather do this. Play Chrome Mox, Imprint Chancellor. So if I get wasted, I mean, it is what it is. I still have a land coming. This aggro is kind of inconsequential. Okay, the opponent break there. So now I think what I should do is Peacekeeper. Let's see. What should I name here? So let's see. I think White Plume Adventurer is the best card here, but if my opponent finds a Plains, I guess the White Plume is pretty long into the future. I'll actually name Swords to Plowshares here. Each spell your opponent casts. Okay, so that card is not symmetrical. That's cool. And now I can choose to play a land out, which I think I should do so that Wasteland is not good against me. So play that, pass. Opponent will keep pecking away here. I think I'm going to go Archon. Ooh, nice draw, I think. So if I kill that card, I can basically, let's see. I take a lot of damage here. Is that good? Maybe it's fine. Maybe I'm supposed to kill that card. I could even go black here, which is kind of funny. So what if I go like this? Dismember, Archon, attack for 3. And then I'll play Clarion Conqueror for the clock. And I think I should have my opponent here. This was super weird. Yeah, GG's. So I was the most powerful initiative player at the table. But to be fair, a lot of the games here are about managing your mana, managing your removal spells, playing the right stuff out, right? So there's a lot about sequencing, open hand evaluations, and then just basically reacting to whatever the game tells us. And obviously here my opponent was very all in on Archon, and I got to take, I don't know, 3 or 4 hits and then win from there. That's not always going to be the case. If they can follow up, I'm in big trouble. Then I need this Dismember much earlier, and maybe we're sideboarding for game 3. So yeah, who knows? Who knows? Let's see if we can showcase some more cool situations. All right, guys, thanks for letting me interrupt the video briefly here. I have a couple of tournaments I want to talk a little bit about. Equiternal Weekend Vintage is on the horizon, September 27th. On a Saturday, we will play out. These are the details. It's going to be a $30 entry with a $10 discount for members. Prizes are going to feature painting by Kai Sawatarix, Kai and you working together, executing exactly what you want to have happen on this painting. Incredible opportunity. The legacy version is already in the books, and the winner is planning with Kai as we speak. Then tons of treasure chests, and then the top finishers, I will award 1 ticket each for the main event at Eternal Weekend EU and NA. So basically 1 for each. We will coordinate so, you know, the right guys get the proper free entry, right? And all of that is thanks to Card Titan, 4 Seasons, and Boost MTG. So thank you very, very much for supporting the Eternal community. Use the link below to purchase your ticket, or, you know, message me and we'll figure it out. Second thing is my next Eco Cup is coming. So this is going to be a 32-player double elimination bracket played in one go on the day. This is going to be Saturday before Eternal Weekend. You have the entry. I'm sorry, you have the details here. It's going to be free for all members, and it's going to be a $10 guest ticket. Here are the prizes. And yeah, again, we have 2 top finishers, and they will each get a main event ticket for Eternal Weekend US or Eternal Weekend EU in the Legacy main event. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on, and I hope to see you there. All right, round 2 of Mono White Initiative, and wow, is this hand close. So this hand is 1 mana source away from doing good things. It has a Chancellor, it has a Bauble. Yeah, I'm actually going to keep this. My opponent usually likes to cheat Atraxa into play in other formats, but I'm not sure if that counts here. Let's go turn 1 Vexing Bauble. Very important to play your pedal first. So Soul Land would be absolutely insane. Yes, baby. Yes, baby. Nice draw. Okay, that is insane. So I think I'm supposed to go... Oh, shoot. This is actually not easy, because if the opponent just has Oath of Druids, this is also a little bit... I don't know how to say that. I don't know if I'm supposed to be playing like my opponent likes Oath of Druids. I feel like that's not good testing. I will play White Plume Adventurer. So, funnily enough, this guy has been playing Oath historically, but I simply don't think that's reasonable. So I should play Archon. Archon is pretty insane here, to be honest. So White Plume wins fast and gets me a Plains. Archon is a lot of time walks where I just have to find a white source. Okay, I'll play Archon here. I think that's a reasonable hedge. If my opponent doesn't fetch, things get a little awkward. Like, Wasteland is just so good with Archon. That's the thing. So now I'm buying turns, and if I find a white source during those turns, I kind of get my cake and eat it too. Where if I play White Plume, I just lose to some meaningful spell, right? Archon of Emeria. Worth noting, it's anything. It also counts for creatures. So once you play the Archon, you cannot follow up with another creature. I may or may not have done that. I tried to do that in the past, where you go Archon, like you want to sequence. But you should always end on Archon. Otherwise, you know, if that resolves, the turn is just over. I guess there are some bluffs where you want the opponent to force this card, and then, you know, you play a better thing afterwards. But you have to be very sure the opponent has to force. I love the concept of Archons. I think it's pretty cool. It's not the actual creature. It's like the rider on the creature. That's the Archon. That's pretty sweet. Let's see what the opponent goes for here. They don't fetch, because if they do, I would... Oh, tapped Wasteland. What does that mean? Tapped Wasteland. Is this where I crack my Bauble because I want to get to the white source? But doesn't that just mean... Doesn't that just mean the opponent gets to play the game? Maybe if they play like Mox, it's not dangerous. Force Will is super scary. Okay, I'll try and take the turn here, see if I can spike a white source. That is not a white source, so now things get a little bit awkward. I think I have to wasteland this wasteland. Yeah. Let's pass the turn. Unclear if this super slow. Okay, so I don't know what this is. Okay, it is Oath. Cool. The Bin Orchard has hit the bin, and the opponent is officially in the game. More Surveil. Is this where I cycle? Try and look for Cavern of Souls. Yeah, I think this is it. Mox does absolutely nothing. Seasoned Engineer does absolutely nothing. Okay, so I'm probably just dead to Oath here. I think it was reasonable to start digging. Also now, so there's a little bit of a cool dynamic here. I still have a Chancellor of the NX trigger. So in theory, my opponent could care about that. Okay, end of turn comes what? Comes Pyroblast. Beautiful. Pyroblast cracks the Chancellor shield, and then the opponent can jam his Oath and win the game. That's Magic the Gathering. So very important lesson here on display, the opponent cracking Chancellor shield, so the opponent can tap out for their spell on time. Okay, that is certainly not that is certainly not Oath of Druids, so I guess we're still living. Oh my god. So the opponent just played towards drawing that card, right? This draw was insane. So now I think my opponent's on a show and tell draw. This is why I have to go. I will actually go human here because Peacekeeper shares creature type with both White Plume and Seasoned Engineer, and Seasoned Engineer is just slightly better. So let's go human. That is an insane draw. So I think my opponent has show and tell here, and we're going to crush them. Okay, they do indeed have show and tell. Show and tell. The show and tell is currently a 5-drop, and I'm trying to make it so that my opponent doesn't have that time. Yeah, no more mana sources. I guess, yeah, they can, okay, they can develop. So if they draw an actual duel here, or an actual land, then they go Mox. Gotcha. Okay, so I actually didn't do the math here. Maybe I'm still good. Oh my god, another Peacekeeper. So that would make for a 7-drop show and tell. I think that's how I win. So let's go. This is super cool. Let's go for show and tell. You got it. Show and tell. So now that is a 7-drop, and my opponent should be dead next turn. Okay, yeah, I got super lucky here. If my opponent had an Oath at any point here, I would lose. Also, just the opponent had a bunch of forces in hand and could never use them. That's pretty crazy when you think about it. Just, yeah, couldn't do anything as a Chancellor. But let's see. Let's see. The opponent keeps playing the game, so I guess we're still playing the game. Okay, so Ancestral Recall, that's our spell for turn, right? So, sure, you have a ton of cards, but you need some stuff, and you don't. Wow. Yeah, we got lucky there. Always love to see that. Containment Priest is insane against Oath. So let's try and understand what is bad. It's probably the Conqueror, right? They work on relatively low amount of mana. So now I could go like this for a lucky trap. I could even consider shaving one of these for another trap. I actually think I'm going to do that. I think Void Mirror. These cards are just on the draw, not the best, right? Because the opponent can play out their acceleration and stuff. So what I could do is bring in Plow, but I think that's just playing to lose, essentially. I think playing to win is saying I'm going to use my priests, I'm going to use my peacekeepers, and I'm going to use my witch enchanters, very important, to disenchant my opponent's oath. But I'm not going to fight on board Atraxa. You know, between the life points, the card advantage, it's just not sustainable. All right, this is a incredibly polarizing hand that I'm going to keep. Double, so I guess Trap and Chancellor play super poorly together. Was I supposed to not reveal there? I've never thought about that before. So I guess I can still hope for some double Mox draw here. So Mox, Lotus. Oh my god, I think I'm doing it with the traps here. I'm actually going to trap a probe here, because if my opponent has another spell, they will jam it. Okay, we didn't do it. So let's see. What's in my opponent's hand right now? Another Chancellor is atrocious. If they have Force and Negation, I think I should give them a chance to force this Emerald. So let's see. Let's go Black Lotus. Let's go Seasoned Engineer. I mean, I don't think I can just hang around here. I think I have to play like this. That resolves. Pretty sweet. So now I should go for planes and play the planes, because some of my out here is my opponent wants to go Oath of Druids, and then my out is to hardcast this Witch Enchanter to disenchant it. Basically get super lucky and find, let's see, Ancient Tomb, Mana Crypt. Oh, wow. So stock up is probably somewhat solid for me, but I still need my opponent to play into Mindbreak Trap from here. But just cracking a Lotus is decent. It's a bit annoying my opponent has 2 mana on the board already. Let's say they do land an Oath, then I would have to scry in the Undercity here. Go to the Lost Well, scry 2, look for a double mana. And then I think if I disenchant the Oath, I'm in great shape. Could also just get Show and Tell here. So yeah, Trap is not on. So now things are getting a little bit iffy, let me put it that way, because I have to look for either Containment Priest, or something that is 2 mana. So let's see if we can do it. There's Containment Priest. Yeah, I mean, we take that any day of the week. So now let's see what we can do on the Dungeoneer attack. Get a little bit of Explore bonus. Oh, wow. I'm getting Rending Volleyed here. Sure. So while that is annoying, it's still the... Unless my opponent has more, it's the card that makes Containment Priest resolve, right? So let's play Containment Priest. Orsa will crushes me. That would be totally fair. Also, I guess, yeah, I slept a little bit at the wheel here. My opponent cannot Oath now. Well, if I don't play this, they can't Oath. So right now, but I guess if they kill it, they don't Oath. Okay, perfect. Okay, so wait a minute. What's going on here? Is this bugged? What am I missing here? Okay, yeah, well, this is certainly not possible. the opponent cannot you know, get Atraxa this way, so they did it basically to shuffle their deck with the Gaia's Blessing. All right. That is not the best when there's a bug on Magic Online. It's not the best. Let me put it that way. I think I should still, you know, assume it works, right? I don't think I'm supposed to mulligan because I'm trying to beat my opponent. So yeah, that's very bad for content, obviously. But yeah, Container Priest makes sure the opponent cannot Oath, cannot show and tell Atraxa into play. So yeah, I was doing just fine in that game. Let's see if I can do a little bit of an adjustment here. I think this makes a lot of sense, and then maybe just not have it at all. All right. All right. All right. We try again. Okay. This hand is pretty cool. So I can go turn 1 Void Mirror. Turn 2 something like Archon, and then turn 3 Witch Enchanter. They managed to land Oath. So opponent's on the mull to 6. I'm gonna hide my Cavern here. So let's go turn 1 Void Mirror, which effectively counters all Moxen and Forces. So it oftentimes just forces the opponent to play like this. Let's see. With land pass, oh wow, that's a good draw. So now I could go let's see. What happens if I go, I really want to put on aggro here, that's the thing. I feel if the opponent had a Mox, they would have played it. So I'm not too scared of show and tell. And because of this card, I'm not scared of Oath. So maybe I should lay a little bit of a trap here for my opponent. I think getting the initiative is going to be good. Let's play Mox. Let's play White Plume to basically speed up. Also, the opponent pitched Atraxa. So yeah, I'm just thinking Oath of Druids here is the move. So now I'll go Plains Pass. So the good thing about this is it's killing my opponent somewhat fast. The bad thing is if my opponent has exactly Oath into Show and Tell Atraxa, I'm in trouble. Because Witch Enchanter handles Oath, but then the third mana source, you know, enables Show and Tell, and I could have played Archon. But this is basically to shorten the game. Okay. Stock up. Okay, so Crack Lotus, stock up, you know, is still probably Oath I'm going to defend against, but who knows. It's just a recall. So the opponent has a ton of cards now. Does that change my plan? I mean, surely it does, right? So now they showed the volley last game, but I think that's reasonable. I think it's reasonable to try and grow this guy. Let's see if I get Rended volleyed. That's a good tempo play for my opponent if they have that card. Still have the initiative, though. Okay, so they go Dismember, so that's obviously better for me. So I get a creature, and they go Dismember. Now I think what I have to do is Archon. That is a very bad draw. So now the question becomes, do I want to get forced on the Archon? I think it looks like I cannot beat tap land show until the following turn anyway. So let's do some math here. Attack for 1, that's 13. Next turn, 10. Trap, 5. Show and tell Atraxa. So, does my opponent have second force? Or is it more likely my opponent draws second force? It's very, very tight margins. If I get forced land show and tell Atraxa, I think I just tip my hat to my opponent. So let me go Archon. Archon gets forced. That's annoying. Pitch Oko. Oh, yeah, right. I got this on the upkeep, so never mind. So I'm good against Oath still, but I'm bad against Show and Tell. Here's Null Rod. Okay, so that actually stops my disenchant creature. So if they have Show and Tell Attracts, I'm cooked. Maybe that's just fine. Let us trap the opponent and draw Ancient Tomb. So obviously they don't have Oath, they would have cast it. So if I attack my opponent to 6, I play Witch Enchanter, then my opponent's at 2. That does change the clock, that's the thing. But the opponent doesn't have Oath. And I think they have 1 turn to draw it, otherwise it's gonna be too late. Okay, I'm gonna play this Witch Enchanter. And oh, I have to kill it. It's not even okay. So I was about to say I should consider whether I want to kill it or not. My opponent's at 6. I lose to Show and Tell plus Atraxa. I lose this turn to Oath, which the opponent didn't have last turn, right? Okay, that's very good for me. So now I'm gonna draw a card. Here's Chancellor of the Annex that I can play uncounterable, which is very funny. So now I should... One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't think I should play Chancellor, because I'm actually still bad against Show and Tell Atraxa, which is funny. So what I should do here is... I mean, what can my opponent even do here to stabilize? Probably nothing. What about Oko? Let's see, Oko... Let's just say they play a Mox. That's a 3/3 blocker. That's not enough. So I guess I'll go Angel. And then I'll pass with the Priest. And it looks like we have found a win here. A little 3-0. No, I don't know about the game 2, obviously. But yeah, that was so annoying with the bug. I think that was never what you want to see when you're making content. So yeah, Containment Priest works against Oath, and it works against Show and Tell Atraxa. It does not work against Show and Tell, Bolas' Citadel or whatever, but it sure, just like in Legacy, right? Works against Sneak Attack and Show and Tell. All right, that's been 2 pretty cool matches. Let's grab one more. Card. Attack for 3. Basic Island is a very strong draw. Probably doesn't unload that much on the side of my opponent. So I guess let's play Archon. Archon will get forced. And then I play Peacekeeper next time. Nope, Archon didn't get forced. Okay, so now I'm winning the race. More Island. That's a weird deck I'm facing. I gotta say that. Double Island. So in theory, this could be Mana Drain. Thieving Skydiver. So I'm actually playing against Merfolk. That is hilarious. Let's play Anointed Peacekeeper first to learn about how to use our combat step. Huh. Yeah, this is obviously Merfolk. So I should name Voldarian Hexcatcher. Voldalian Hexcatcher. I should name that card. So let's see. Play this land as well. So if I stay back with Archon, I guess I'm doing pretty well. So I should play like this. Or wait a minute, maybe I should have just attacked with everybody. Okay. Yeah, I may or may not have made a mistake here. Here's Skydiver. That card attacks alone. If I block here, how does the world look? If I go to 5 here... Yeah, I kind of put myself in a corner here for little reason. But I think the move is to take the damage. So now I attack with the 2 3/3s. Yeah, this game was confusing. Maybe this is bad. If my opponent double blocks the Conqueror, then funnily enough, I can hardcast Chancellor, which is hilarious. Wait a minute, am I dead here? No, I'm not dead here. Okay, yeah, weird game. So those are dead. And I wish I thought about my next move, but I didn't. So let's see. This card's gone. Those 3 and an unknown. So I go Angel. Then I go 7. Slam Chancellor of the NX. Boom. Weird game. I don't like how I played. I got super confused about what I'm playing against. I actually think that this just might be a terrible matchup. Because the opponent will probably have like evasion and stuff. Okay, well, we got lucky against Merfolk. Let's cut these cards. Do I want a random 2/2 against Merfolk? That very well may be better than Clarion Conqueror. Random 2/2 has been added. Maybe one more random 2/2 and then one less Chancellor. I think it's decent to try and fight over the initiative with the opponent having a bunch of like 3/2s and stuff, which essentially, you know, trade kind of poorly with the big bad Containment Priest that's in my hand. ×2 even. Yeah, this hand is fine because it plays so well off the top. Island, Mox, like pretty standard opener here from my opponent. They're obviously a 5 Mox deck. Okay. Plains. That's a terrible draw, most likely. Let's go Plains, Mox. Oh, even want to go Lotus here. And then I'm looking to flash in probably 1 Containment Priest unless something happens. Nice. So opponent forced a Lotus that I didn't care about. They're down to 2 cards. And there's some kind of race going on here. Let's see. I will end step a 2/2. I mean, I don't think it's embarrassing. I think it's fine. Ooh, there's Archon. That's a good draw. So now I can attack for 2. My opponent has something like Dismember. They're going to take the damage. Am I scared of Force of Will on the Archon? I don't think I am. I am fine playing like this. Play Archon of Emeria. If I get forced, it's whatever. So what's in my opponent's hand? 3 drops, I guess? This is awesome for me. Okay, Mox. So I should just attack with both here, I feel like. What can the opponent do? If they flash in the Lord, then what? Then the opponent trades off the Archon? Sure. I think I'm supposed to try and win this race. So funnily enough, if my opponent has a 3-2, I should play well here. So, playing well, what does that mean? Does that mean giving up a land? In theory, I could do this. And you let me know if I'm crazy here. So obviously playing out Archon seems like the move, right? But what if I pass, because of the 3-2, the Tidebinder, right? On the opponent's upkeep, I kill this Wasteland. And then if they have the Tidebinder, they they play it out late and it's, a little bit whatever. Then again, I could be putting too much stock into getting rid of this land. I think it does very little. Okay, I think I solved it. I think I put too much stock into exactly that. So now let me go just... wait a minute. I guess Archon, because it's a flyer, is decent. And then I'm just going to play this out and, I don't know, bait the Wasteland or whatever. Okay, no Tidebinder. Okay. Wasteland onto the Wasteland. Sure. I really don't mind that. Here's Cavern of Souls. I mean, the opponent, sure, they could have drawn that, but maybe they just have a bad hand. Here's a Witch Enchanter. Unclear if that's great. I guess let's send the clowns here. I feel like I'm really waiting, and my opponent needs to trade off the Container Priest now. Take 4. So if I play Witch Enchanter, it's kind of inconsequential. But it is a 2-2, so let me do that. Kill a red Mox for good measure. If there was a black one, I would have killed that because of Dismember. Still hanging on to the Cavern because I don't know which, good creature I'm going to draw. True Name Nemesis is really scary for my deck, but I currently have flyers, so I don't care too much. I think now it's time to play this on human or cleric. Probably cleric. Not sure. So let's attack our opponent down to 5. So now the opponent needs something that stabilizes against these Archons, or this will not matter. Yeah, the opponent couldn't do it. Okay, we got super lucky. Black Lotus got Force of Willed. This is something very important to remember with Mono White Initiative. It's very tricky knowing when to go for the acceleration. So I could have done a little bit better job of sequencing my stuff this video. So if you pick up this deck, you should really think about how can I get my opponent to force and negate my Lotus when I actively want that to happen, and how can I let them, resolve it when I actively want that to happen, and then think about your sequence and lay out the traps. And speaking of trap, then Mindbreak Trap sometimes becomes a card even. So this is really not simple, but whenever you can maneuver into getting like a Chromox Force negated and then just playing another and you don't care, that's really smart. So again, if you want them to force acceleration, play smart. If you want your acceleration to resolve so you can Cavern, play smart. That's kind of the biggest thing with this deck, I feel like. But yeah, that was pretty decent. We got to play against some a little bit under the radar decks, I guess. But I got to showcase what I wanted here. A lot of opening hands, a lot of sequencing, a lot of not draws, and combined with super grindy games where you have to slow roll your Priest or slow roll your Witch Enchanter and slow roll your Cavern, try and get lucky. Even passing on the opportunity to hardcast Chancellor of the NX was pretty cool in that game. The bug was unfortunate, but that's how it goes. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed some vintage action. I'll be back with more soon. So yeah, thanks so much for watching.